mental, spiritual, moral, political, economic death. How do you explain, brother student minister Victor, this most critical question in the minds of any spiritual and or religious person? What is the resurrection, brother minister Victor?
That's a great question, but I would first, I always want to attack what is death. And if we're talking about a difference between spiritual death and physical death, we should qualify that. And what I mean by that is all of us have these devices, and something is dead when it's not functioning according to its creation. So when we have a cell phone, the Negro has learned to sit next to plugs, so he can always revive his phone and get a charge on it so that the phone can work according to its make. When it doesn't work according to its creation, we say the phone is dead. Doesn't mean the phone is not capable, doesn't mean the phone cannot be revived. And as an electrician, I found that the word surge is in resurrection. So there's a resurgence of the Spirit of God, but our resurgence in that Spirit is based off of our natural, as a human being able to reflect the power of the Creator of the heavens and the earth, and not ask for permission as we come into power.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Did everybody just hear what brother student minister Victor just said about the resurrection and qualifying what it is to be resurrected versus physical death, spiritual death, and then the analogy so beautifully displayed in cell phones, this analogy includes something that all of us are familiar with. And I think that was a beautiful analogy as it relates to both physical and spiritual death. Thank you, brother student minister, for that. In terms of, again, this resurrection and it being one of the main purposes that we discover when we accept Islam as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad under Minister Farrakhan's leadership, what does that mean? How do we go about resurrecting people who don't even believe they're dead?
That's the question, basically, that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was asked in the courtroom, and the judge told him that it would be like putting pants on an elephant. He said, well, I already have one leg on. The first thing is we must make people see themselves. Are we functioning as a people, or are we functioning from permission from another people? Yes. And the reality is, if we're functioning from permission of another people, that means, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan taught us, we are emancipated, meaning freed by the hand, but we have not relinquished the shackles of our mind. So because of that, we're not demonstrating the power of the human being as any other people on the earth that can come to this country and make something out of themselves, regardless of the barriers of all the excuses that we use for not getting up out of the dirt. Every time we look at the function of Negro reality, it is something on a low base and based off, again, the permission of this world. Now, our resurrection is in particular specially fixed for us. If we go back to the cell phone analogy, you have to have a charger compatible with your component. Without having a charger that is compliant with your cell phone, then you can have an iPhone, but you got an Android charger. You're still dead. Well, we had resurrection teaching. We talked about Jesus being the resurrection, the truth, and the life, but it was from a slave experience. So we didn't have the right charger. Right. We didn't have the right product to give us what we needed. So when you hear the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad exemplified and explained so clearly by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you can't help but to hear something that corresponds with your nature. You think like you never thought before. You move like you never moved before. And it so corresponds with your nature that you have to get up and make change in your life. And I learned from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that motion is the first law of the universe.
Yes.
Well, you can't follow something that's not in motion. So in order to convince people, our greatest argument is producing the work, not talking about the work, because something that's not moving can be looked at, can be studied, can be talked about, can be dreamed about, but something in motion can be followed. And when Muslims get up and take the motion of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, a Negro can't help but to see a moving reality.
Thank you, Brother Victor. Beautiful, beautiful, yet again. I'm going to stop at this point and ask Brother Stephen if either does he have any questions at this time, or are there anybody in the chat that would like to ask our brother, Student Minister Victor Muhammad out of Pittsburgh? I thought when I saw your face, I'm like, Philadelphia, okay, maybe he moved on. I don't know. I know that sometimes a West Side study group in Philly and and Philadelphia proper, but I'm glad you cleared that up. But either way it go, wherever you preaching at, I'm sure it's rocking. Either way, Pittsburgh, Philly, wherever you at, Allah gonna bless you. So, Brother Stephen, do you have